big the problem may have been that he wouldn't show up on these statistics, but the impact of his adoption is still something he felt throughout his life, and even passed down to me and my siblings.
And I've done stories about adoption before, and something I've heard is that there is some melancholy around this loss in connection with identity. So, when did your dad push past Grandma Cleo's tall tale and start to dig into his native identity?
He said it was around when he moved back to Salt Lake City. So at that point, he had two sons named Cheyenne and Elijah, who are my half-brothers.
I was raised in the boys and play music, but I had a job working at the Juvenile Detention Center in Salt Lake City.
He was a guard at the time, but then another job came up at the center to be a facilitator for students' parents, and he took it because it had better hours.
And what started happening is that anytime we would get a native person, they would match me with them to speak to them and to speak to their parents.
He looked like the native kids being brought in, so he ended up being the one put on their cases and eventually who could get through to them. And often the parents would trust him. And he continued to work with native kids over the next few years, and then eventually, when they needed people to do diversity work in other facilities, they would call my dad. And those jobs took him all over the country, and he ended up moving to DC as a home base.
Once I got to DC, I started working with so many Native Americans that it started making me think I need to find out more. I need to find out more.
There was one story in particular he used to tell us a lot.
I was in Navajo country, and when I was there at those meetings, it's funny, I had grandmas come up to me during a break, and they go, "We know you." And I just went, "You don't." They go, "We know you. You're now." I said, "I don't know that."
That's a psychic stuff.
"We know who you are."
Psychic
And
stuff I was talking
you
about.
look Navajo. You should remember that.
The topic would come up often in this line of work. Who are you? Are you Indian? And people would even offer to help him look.
I had people come up to me and say that they knew of a certain family here or a certain family there and stuff like that. But after looking into it, it didn't
My
lead
dad was part of that.
Working in these spaces, my dad started to hope that finding his birth family would involve not only finding a
Big Mom was
family,
part German.
but also a community or a tribe. And this gets tricky. Proving tribal affiliation in adoptions like his is very hard because there's just no information.
And he's also only been told that his parents are university students, right?
And he already said that was wrong. Yeah, so it ends up being this false need. Like, we're pouring all of our energy into finding these people who don't exist. So after a lot of years of trying on both my mom and my dad's part, everything goes quiet for a while until Christmas of 2017, when my mom randomly got my dad an Ancestry DNA kit. I think it was from Target. I think it was just sitting on an end cap, and it's Christmas and there's never enough presents for the parents, and so my mom just grabbed it and was like, "Why don't we try it?" And he sent it away, and when his results came back in, he had a paternal match.
Next up, code switch. There you